Well, Kyren, it's that time of the year again. The World Championship is upon us. How are you feeling?
Yeah, obviously really excited for it. The build up is sort of going along nicely. I've been practicing very hard, and yeah, it's always like my favorite time of year. This is so yeah, just kind of raring to get started now.
And you're pretty refreshed as well, as you say. You've not played since getting to the final in Gibraltar. So good momentum from your last tournament, given that you've reached the final, as we say.
Yeah, obviously going into it with a nice bit of form at the right time. I always think that the World Championships is just obviously so different to every other event. It doesn't really matter kind of what you've done all throughout the season because it's just so unique to every other tournament. And yeah, it's obviously a test of its own and one that obviously I'm really looking forward to being a part of.
Well, absolutely. And you've certainly been one of, if not the form player at the Crucible of recent years, at least the quarterfinals each of the last 6 years, semi-finals, three of the last four. But why do you think you performed so well there?
I think it just suits my game. I prefer the longer formats. I like the longevity of the tournament. I like the test of it all. And I'd sometimes, at events you can kind of lose yourself in places, kind of with your downtime because there's a lot of time, to kill in between matches. But I absolutely love Sheffield. I love the whole sort of snooker buzz around the city and. Yeah, obviously, really enjoy playing at the Crucible. So for me, um, it's kind of one of those that I kind of ease my way into it and just enjoy every single moment, really.
Well, you certainly do. And you're probably one of the best qualified people to answer this question at the moment. But how do you prepare for the marathon that is the World Championship?
Um, for me personally, I don't really put in the amount of time and effort for any other event other than this one. I practice a lot harder. I kind of do overtime, really. Yeah, and you just try and get the other things right. Like you try and eat well, go into it feeling as good as you possibly can. And for most of the tournaments nowadays, you're kind of hopping from one event to the other. Whereas for the World Championships, obviously as a top 16 player, you normally guarantee yourself at least like 2 to 3 weeks preparation before the event. So that's quite rare nowadays, which is obviously a good thing. But it's yeah, just nice to try and get your game into shape.
And you've got a bit of extra time to prepare as well. I think it's a week on Wednesday. That's when you start. I think.
Yeah,
Do you prefer it that way, or do you prefer to be in early doors? What's your preference in that regard?
I don't really mind to be honest with you. Just being a part of the tournament is very special. So I really don't really look into when would be best to play and when wouldn't. I'm just glad that I'm in it and yeah, just enjoy taking part.
And you've just got to look after yourself at the end of the day because whoever you play, it's going to be a difficult match on the biggest stage. So you've just got to focus on yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. You've obviously got the top 16 players. They're kind of by right over a 2 year ranking list, and everybody that's come through has obviously got through a grueling qualifying, so they've earned their own right to be there. So this has been a pretty crazy season. Really, there's been lots and lots of different winners. So it just shows how sort of high the standard is this year. So yeah, there's going to be no easy games at the Crucible.
Well, exactly. And as I say, you have got fantastic form there in recent years. You can't fault too much of what you've done in order to go as far as you have. But what would you say is the missing ingredient that's going to take you that next step, do you think?
I don't really know. I think it's just kind of just waiting for your time. I don't think I can do anything different or work on different things to maybe give me that extra 5% because I feel like I kind of tick all of those boxes. So just sometimes I think it's when it's your time, it's your time. There's nothing that you can do about it. You just have to kind of ride it out and yeah, just make sure that you obviously have done everything that you can. You work hard, you give it your all, and leave everything out on the table. And when you've done that, that's kind of all you can ask of yourself, really.
Well, exactly. And I think when we spoke a bit earlier in the season, you said about the fact that if you just keep putting yourself in those positions, those latter stages of the big tournaments, eventually the door is going to open for you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's just important to obviously keep putting yourself in those positions, and as long as, like I say, I'm doing the right things by sort of putting the time in and giving it my all out on the table. That is all I can ask of myself. So yeah, obviously the standard is getting higher and higher each year. So yeah, it's obviously going to be a very competitive championship this year.
Well, definitely. And obviously, you take nothing for granted at the World Championship. It's very much one ball at a time, really. I think you never look too far ahead, and you can be absolutely forgiven for doing that. But what would it mean to you if you were to go the extra step and lift that trophy?
Yeah, it would obviously mean everything to go that extra step and win the world title. I've been playing since I was 6 years old, and I've had many dreams and visualisations of lifting that silver lady at the end of the 17 days at the Crucible. So to make that reality would be awesome. But I don't put too much pressure on myself. As long as I give it my all and kind of leave everything out there, that's all I can ask of myself. So yeah, I always think everything happens for a reason.